Hi everyone, this is Robin from svgcoop.com, and we are going to be doing a new lesson. This is lesson number 105, and what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how to weed a little bit more intricate cut. And I know it's hard to see, but there's actually a tree here. Let's see. Trying to see if you can just kind of barely see some of the cut, and it's a layout that one of our members was having a little bit of difficulty with weeding, so I thought I would try to cut it and see how we did. So the first thing I'm going to do is, when you're looking at it, you can see where the lines are, so I'm just going to trim away some of the extra vinyl here, and it's just going to make it a little bit easier for when I'm trying to pull the vinyl away from the image. So let's see. But I don't want to miss anything, so you have to be careful. Make sure you don't trim off too much. Okay. Now it'll start to come together as we go along. Now what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to start from a corner that is rather sharp. So usually, you know, if you can try to find a place where see how, like, that's a nice sharp clean corner, it makes it a little bit easier to start there. And this does have a very intricate cut to it, so once I start getting to where some of the intricate cut is, I'm actually going to use my scissors and trim it off. Now you can see we're just getting to a couple of leaves here, and they're no problem. And then I'm going to start to get to a couple more up here. I'm just going to keep spinning this around, and now it's getting a little bit more complicated, so I'm just going to pull this off and clip that. And on the other side, you can see I kind of came around the side here, and I'm just going to clip that off there too. Okay. Now this project takes a little bit. This is not a fast video or a fast project, so I'm going to start up here where I know my tree is, and I'm just using this tool. It's a Cricut weeding tool or whatever, and it's great. I love it because the point is super sharp. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see what I'm doing here. Now I don't know if you can see this, but I can see this little break in the vinyl. It means that there's a cut there, but maybe the line is not exact, so it's pulling away. So I use my tool to just kind of hold it down while I'm trying to get it. And as you're weeding this thing, or something similar to it, you know, you'll start to see where the cut comes out, and you just use your tool. See, like right here, let me see if you can see that. Right here, see this little piece? So I'm just gonna hold that down with my tool while I pull away. And you can see how it's starting to pull a little bit. So you just keep using your tool to make sure you're grabbing everything. And you can check your vinyl on this side to see if there's any pieces that are still there. So if there is, you just kind of lay it back down and pull it up again. All right, I'm going to zoom back out. All right, I'm going to start pulling away this way. And you can see, I'm just going to keep using my tool here. Now see this big leaf, it started to come up. So I'm just going to roll back a little, lay it down again, and pull it off. Okay, and as I see the pieces coming, you just want to keep working it, and do it slowly, because if you do this nice and slowly, you will be sure not to miss anything. Now see how like tiny that little piece is right there, but if you do it slowly and you keep using your tool to help you, it'll help you to make sure you don't miss any of the pieces that you want. Like, let's see, I'm going to zoom in again. You can see these little, you can see where it's starting to pull away. That's because that's a piece that's supposed to stay. So I'm just going to use my tool to keep holding those down. And it's good when you have an idea of what the picture looks like, what you're, trying to pull away in the first place, so that, you can kind of expect these little pieces. See right here how it's, so I'm just going to use my tool and pull that out. And see there's another one here. And this is a very intricate cut, so it's going to have a lot of these. So I'm just going to keep pulling carefully and keep pushing down the images as I see them. You can see these little cuts are just tiny, so you just want to make sure you hold on to it while you're pulling. Okay, and sometimes the bigger pieces do it. It's not because your machine's not cutting, it's just, you know, sometimes when you're designing, the design doesn't always cut exactly to the point. So sometimes there's just like, it's just like the tiniest little piece, but it's enough to make it stick. All right, that looks pretty good. So we're just going to keep going here. And we're just going to start to, actually maybe I'll flip this off just to make it a little bit easier, and a little easier for you to see it too. Okay. You can see, like when you have it all bunched up, you just, when you're pulling over, make sure you have some fingers underneath so it doesn't stick to your vinyl that's over here, because then you will lose pieces. And, you know, after you spend a lot of time trying to get this thing cleaned up, losing the pieces is not a happy thing. Okay, so you're going to keep twisting it around until get to another place where you can lift up. I'm just going to keep holding that. Okay, we've got kind of a nice big piece here, so that makes it easy. You can see I'm just tearing it away. Look at the grass down here. Now it's starting to come from up here, up on the top, so I have to watch that while I'm pulling the bottom. I have to keep watching the top to make sure I don't lose any pieces here. But you see, you just keep pulling it slowly and make sure you don't miss anything. Okay, I'm just going to hold that down because I know there's a little nub there for the branch. And see this one, just have to make sure, keep holding it down, because the Cricut will cut the tiniest of pieces for you. So you just have to really keep an eye on it while you're pulling. Okay, and then I would just take my finger, pat it down so it doesn't move, and then you're good to go. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull from inside where the prince and the princess are. It's a nice big piece right there. Pull that out. Okay, now there's a couple of tiny pieces in here, and I'm going to use my fingernail to, I'm going to kind of go a little bit over where the piece is coming out, so I can use my fingernail to pull it up and then grab that. See, there's another tiny piece right there. Just going to grab that. There's a tiny, tiny piece right here. And it's so tiny. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. It's so tiny, I can't really grab it, but I can nudge it off. And you see how it's right there? So I'm just going to grab it with my thing. And there it goes. So it's the tiniest, tiniest piece, but it's still something we want to get out of there. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. And I think she's got, yep, there's a couple more little tiny pieces here. See, just keep using your fingernail to kind of grab it. And this one does not want to come out nice. Let's see. So I'm just going to nudge it like I did that other tiny piece. And you see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's very tiny. But it's on my tool here. I'm going to pull that off. And there's another one right here. Also another little tiny piece. I'm going to just use my fingernail and my tool to lift it off of there. Okay, and you see how tiny that is. I mean, it's just, it's crazy small. All right, so the next thing is going to be, I'm going to get the pieces out of the light. So I'm just going to use my finger to hold it. It helps to keep the piece of the vinyl down that you don't want to lift off. And it gives the piece that you are trying to lift off a place to, just gives a little bit of friction to keep it where you want it. Okay. Now the little bit more complicated piece is going to be the text. So this says, a dream is a wish that your heart makes. Okay, so, and it's in a very fancy font. So I'm going to use my finger again because I know that the A is in here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. See the tiniest little corner there? I'm just going to hold that while I pull away. And that's the center of my A, and I don't want to lose that. Okay, I'm going to use my fingernail again and just start pulling the D away, and just keep using the tool to hold down the part that you're not trying to get pulled off of there. Okay, use my finger again. Okay, now there's an E next to this R, and I want to hold the center of the E ahead of time because I know it's probably going to stick. So I'm just going to pull that like that. I'm going to hold the center of the A so that doesn't go away on me. And see this, like the part of the M, like these little pieces, you want to just hold on to it with your tool while you're grabbing it, and it will make it so much easier to get them off. Okay, so I'm just going to keep holding that down a little. Okay, now I'm doing the S. So what I'm going to do is use my fingers so that I can hold down the center part of the S. See, and that's how you, well, of course your fingers start to look like this. Okay, let me zoom back out so you can see a little bit better. Okay, now, I know this is a little bit tedious, but I think it's good to watch because it's good to see how other people do this. I'm sure that some people do it a little bit differently. This is the way that I like to do it because I want to have my whole design on my transfer, the background paper or whatever, so that when I go to transfer it, I can just like pull it off of here, done. I've seen people do it differently where they pull out the part they want and leave the part they don't. Okay, so I'm still going to do that where I hold the inside of the S. I'm using the tool and my fingers between the two to hold it. Okay, see? And that's a very fine cut right there for the wish. Okay. I'm going to grab this. And see how it starts to pull? You just hold it down and keep pulling. And this is going to, see, this is lifting up both pieces, but if I use my tool, I can just grab it and that'll keep that. Now the next letter is an O, so it's going to have that center piece. I'm going to do the same thing where I use my nail to hold it and just pull. Because I don't want it to pull away the part that I want to keep, which is the center of the O. Okay, that was pretty good. And let's see, use my finger again. See how it starts to lift off the other piece? So you can just keep holding it, you know, and you just work with it very slowly, and it's not so bad. Because when you go to lay this down, it's going to be super fast. Doing vinyl is very fun. It's very easy. It's just, this happens to be a more complicated cut. Okay, let's see. And going to grab that. I'm just going to keep using my tool. Get that in there. See how that piece is picking up? So I'm just going to use my tool to pull it back in. And I've got another A, so I'm going to use my finger to hold the center piece and see how it's coming up. If for some reason that piece comes up and you can't get it to stay. When the vinyl gets cut with a Cricut, there's a very, very fine, tiny outline. Oopsie, the middle of my K got stuck. This is exactly what I mean. I'm going to show you what you do in that case. Okay, so I'm going to pull the middle of the K off. See how it's stuck there? That actually happened to me. This is the second time I did this. My first video, I zoomed in too much so you couldn't see anything, so I'm doing it again. And when I did it the first time, the middle of the K also stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up with my tool. Thankfully, vinyl is very forgiving and very sticky. And if you look really close, you're going to see a fine outline of where the piece came from, because it basically just kisses the vinyl. And you just put it back and all that. Now I've had it where I've had pieces stuck in here, and I've been able to pull messes like this apart and find a piece I was missing. So don't think that just because it's in here you can't find it, because this stuff will pull right apart. See how that pulls right apart? If there's a piece in there, you can get it. You don't have to cut the thing over again. I've done it many, many times where I've pulled it apart and gone, oh yeah, there's that little piece. Okay, so that's it. That's all it took to weed this beautiful piece that was made by one of our members. And it really just, it's a matter of time and just being slow and using your tool and your fingers while you're weeding it. All right, thanks for watching, and come back soon. We will have another video for you.